Hello, Whitney. Nice
Hey.
to see you. And yeah, it's our first meeting and first video.
Hmm?
And can you tell a few words? I'm very curious how you work and what you do for the people. What is your service for the people? How you work with the herbs, with shamanism? Really very curious.
Well, I'm Whitney. I come from the Netherlands, and I moved to the northern parts of Sweden 2 years ago. And I work with herbs and shamanism, and it's mostly that I work with the spirits of the herbs, and they tell me what is going on inside somebody's body, like which organs are too active or working too slow, and what we can do to find balance back again. And that's shortly said what I do. But I've been very sick myself for 10 years ago, and I almost died, and then the doctors couldn't help me, so I went deep into the herbs and the shamanism, and then I got better, and I was so impressed what nature can do for us, and also how disconnected we have become from nature, and how disconnected people have become from each other, from themselves, from everything around us. And that's really what I'm trying to bring out to the people, that nature is just not there. Nature is a very important part of our life, and of the way we live and how we feel, and that we have to make a connection and keep that connection in order for us to stay healthy. And that's my main service that I bring out, to reconnect people not only to nature but to themselves and to other people, to really build that community of gratitude and love, and just living with nature instead of against it.
And for that reason, you chose the Sweden, because in Sweden a lot of nature and a lot of herbs, I think, and especially on the north of the Sweden.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're still living in Sweden now, yeah, right?
Yeah, I live in Sweden. I've bought a house in the middle of the forest, so I am very happy here.
Okay, and the working with the herbs is your main direction or main things what you do, or you also work differently with the drum? I see you have a drum beside of you, beautiful one.
Yeah, I work with everything that we can do. I first studied a North American shamanism, and I've been there for a few years, and then I've studied Siberian shamanism, and I just find that the herbs and shamanism just really complement each other. But I feel like every direction, every religion has some really good energies to work with. So I also work with crystals and feathers, but mostly I work just with energy, and all the things around me are just tools that feel good to use, and to help strengthen the energies, or to open the energies.
Okay, lovely. I can see that you follow your feelings and you follow your intuition, and the life brought you to Sweden, and it's nice. I've been in Sweden a few times, and I wasn't in the north of Sweden, but in the south, but there's also a lot of nature there.
Yeah,
And it's a little bit remind me also the Siberian nature, because it's quite similar, and I think also a lot of plants and herbs is also similar there.
the nature energies are so strong here. You can connect so deeply with the nature spirit here still, and that was something I was really missing in the Netherlands, because everything is concrete and disturbed, and every nature that is there is planted or like cut down because it has to stay within boundaries, and here it's just rough, real nature, and that was something I loved. And I've never been to Sweden before. It was the spirits that said, like, you are going to move to Sweden, and I just took a map and said I'm going to move there, and I just packed the bags and went.
Yeah, very, very exciting. Very
But
good. And yeah, it's very similar as my story of becoming a shaman. I have something the same when the spirits also give me a sign, and I have to change my life, and I have to also offer my life, what like you can say, social life, my work, and I also decide to go to my teacher, also to the mountains, to the forest, and I stay there also for a long time to learn and to study different healings, shamanism, and then I get my initiation also to be a shaman as well. That was my story, and yeah, same as you. Mainly, I follow my feelings, intuition. I try several times to not do that, and do something from my mind, and that always doesn't work.
oh,
And
it was not.
I stopped to do it. Just use my feelings, and if my feelings say yes, I go. It's the best way, in my opinion. And now the how to say the spirits brought us together.
Yeah.
Great to talk with you, and yeah, to share. And I would also say a few words. My work, uh, I do more like teachings for the people, like workshops. I'm traveling mostly in Russia and Europe for doing teachings. Then I also do healing work, like more personal, one-to-one. And when I'm traveling, I don't use much herbs, mainly dream travels, some massage techniques, healing techniques. But I also have my healing center in Russia. Also, what you say, you bought a nice house in the middle of the nature. I have that also in the middle of the nature. I don't leave the winter time, but in the summertime, I am there with my family, and I call this place Živo, which mean life, yeah, like
Hey, Russian.
source, yeah, yeah. And then I invite people to come there, especially for the healing with the herbs. For example, we every morning doing green smoothie with wild herbs like natto, for example, or many other wild herbs which is grow there. You just pick up them in the morning and freshly put them to the smoothie, and then yeah, you drink it straight away. This is many other things too, like people swimming in the lake which is nearby, and walking in the forest. And I invite people with big problems, chronic problems, to my place just to be healed, to recover. And I use many also shamanic techniques, but then I already use a lot of herbs and a lot of techniques which need time, yeah, which you need to do every day. Because when you do healing in Europe, most of the time you have just 1 hour, maybe times 2 hours with the person, and that's quite limited. You cannot do all what you want to do.
No, it's short. It has to be fast and effective, and
yeah, exactly. Like a little bit follow the rhythm of the city life, and you have to make an appointment. You have to come. You have to do everything, and then it's have to be done.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not working always, and the chronic illnesses, serious problems. Yeah, in my opinion, people have to go to the deeper healing, and that's mean they have to go to nature.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I work. And also, I do organize once a year travel to Altai Mountains. It's very famous about nature and energy and power plays, and it's also famous about healing herbs. It's like most of the healing herbs, which is in our altitude grow, you can find there.
Okay.
It's like kind of yeah, much more than any other place have. Let's say like that. In other places, you have to come to the many different areas to collect different herbs. And in Altai, most of the time you can find all the herbs because some of them grow high in the mountains, and there is a mountains. Also, some of them grow more in the bottom of the mountains, next to the water. Like really, it's famous in Russia. Like we have many people who, especially in the summer, travel to Altai only for collecting herbs. And also, it's very pure place by ecology. I mean, there's not much pollutions there.
No, that's important.
Yeah, that's very important because sometimes people don't think and they collect herbs next to the highway.
Yeah.
It can be very good herbs, but if they grow next to the highway, you have to be very, very careful.
And I think that's the, at least in my opinion, that's the most important part, that you pick herbs that grow in your area because they have the energies and the vibrations that work for your body and work for your environment. It's very popular now to use herbs that you can order online and they are shipped and they are cut and they are the energy of the herbs is much lower than the herbs that you get when you go out in nature, connect to the spirit of the plant, of the herb, and then prepare it yourself. Then you really build a connection with the herbs, and I find that is almost half of the healing already.
Yeah, exactly. And I can add only the thing that I always recommend people look what kind of herbs grow around your house.
Yes.
Because they coming to help you. And I remember one woman have a problem with the heart, and then she started to asking people what kind of herbs I can use for it. And then she got the name of the herbs and the pictures. They look on the internet. Then she starts searching these herbs. And when she coming to her house, she was very impressed. Like that herbs just grow in front of her door. And it's like often the herbs coming to heal us already just close by, yeah, and we just need to go out and pick them up and make a medicine and use them. And yeah, I agree with that, and it's very much resonate what you say with ideas of Anastasia. I don't know if you hear about the Siberian woman which sent a message to the people.
Yeah, I know a little bit, but I want to read the books now.
Okay, yeah, I very recommend you because I was so impressed when I read these books, these messages, and actually my healing center is a part of the kind of Anastasia project, like family land, we call it, or tribal land, you can say. And yeah, that's really very special because it's so touchable what she mentioned and what we talk with you right now. It's very resonant, and I think people who interested about herbs, about spiritual development and shamanism, they will be very, very interested to read these books. And maybe we can also put them on the description in this video. You can put the name and the author of the books. Yeah, nice books. All right. Do you want to ask me something else so we can go further?
I think we can go further because what are we going to talk about in this video? Can you explain that?
Okay, my intention, this main task of this video, to give people some vision or some herbs that help to raise the immune system. It's very important in this time of the life because many people are afraid of viruses, and especially this coronavirus. And the best healing, even doctors say, for the viruses, it's your immune system. Because at the moment, medicine doesn't create yet a medicine which can prevent you from the viruses, only vaccination. But vaccination work in the same way to to let your immune system be against of this virus. And also possible to use some herbs to activate the immune system and be more safe, not only from viruses but from anywhere else. And yeah, maybe Whitney, you can say what is your opinion about immune system, how you see it, maybe not only about herbs, but also generally, what we can do to make our immune system stronger. What is your vision?
Well, building your immune system is not only taking herbs, but it is to also sleep enough, and especially stress. Stress, I believe, is the biggest illness right now. It is stress that lower our immune system, that prevent blood circulation to the liver, which is a main life force organ. It prevents the circulation to the skin. It prevents hormones being built up and released, or there are hormones that are released, but not the hormones that we need to build up a strong body. And my main point is always to use herbs that can help with an illness, but also herbs that help our immune system, and especially finding a soul purpose back, because I feel that so many people are so estranged from their path, so estranged from what they are meant to do in this life, and they become stressed and they become tense because they are living in patterns and beliefs that do not resonate with them anymore, and then we become ill. So for me, using herbs is not only to, okay, you have diabetes, you are going to use this and that herb, but it's also, why do you have diabetes? Where does this come from? What is it that doesn't work in your body? What traumas, what emotions are stuck in your body? Which DNA have you gotten from your parents, which you are still carrying with you in this life? And you can release, dissolve, and really step into your soul purpose and what you are meant to do in this life. And I believe if you are on your path and you are living your fullest self, that you don't become ill so often, because then your immune system and everything is just strong and balanced. And sicknesses are a part of life, because sickness is discomfort. And discomfort means we're going to change. If I, 10 years ago, wouldn't have become sick, I wouldn't sit here today. I wouldn't be interested in herbs. I wouldn't be interested in shamanism, because getting the illness really made me open to changing my life. So illness is a very big part of life, but I believe when you are in your, I say it always, in your inner river, because it feels like we have a river that flows, and we can try as hard to not go with the flow, but the flow goes and our boat will go. But if we're going with the flow, then it doesn't take any energy, and then every obstacle that may occur, you can face it, and you can open it, and you can change it, instead of becoming very, very ill. But that's my point of view, and I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm totally agree with you, and maybe add a few things like you say stress, yeah, and definitely stress is like we can say killing people right now. But
Yes.
also I can feel a lot of fear. It's also running around, and the fear is a spirit which is also against of the immune system. Actually, when we feel fear, our immune system get down. And I would say that a fear is opposite of love. Yeah, if you feel love, your immune system coming up, and if you feel fear, it's like your immune system going down. And of course, herbs is a great medicine, but love is also a medicine. Yeah, and what you say that take care of your life and take care of what you do, your lifestyle, your how much you sleep, how much you take care of yourself, feel good, yeah, positive, and that's make your immune system well. And I always ask people, just check yourself, ask yourself, am I feel good now or not? Yeah. And if you say, yes, I feel good, that means it's already good enough to handle many viruses and problems. But if you are not feel good, yeah, then it's something should be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Whitney, can you tell few words what herbs you would recommend people for rising immune system, and what you think, yeah, how people can use it and how they can, yeah, connect with it and where they can collect it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to hear from you what you recommend.
Well, the first herb that really came to mind and was like screaming to me is the pine tree. And I always use official names, and that's Pinus sylvestris, because if you move around a lot, it's really important to know the official name. Then we all know which herb we're talking about. But this is a herb that's been used for centuries to especially heal the lungs and the respiratory discomfort. So everything from the nose to the mouth to the throat and the lungs. And you can use both the pine needles, but you can also use the resin that comes from the bark, like the wound healing that the plant or the tree does. And they work very well against inflammation, especially inflammation in the throat, but also in the lower, in the lungs itself. And also what I find the strength in the pine needles is that they're so high in vitamin C, but also other vitamins and minerals that really help to boost our immune system and help everything to become stronger and healthier. But beside the immune response that the pine needle activates, it's also that the pine works on the nervous system, and it calms down the nervous system, and it flows around the qi, as they call it in the Chinese medicine, but the energy flow in the body and the blood flow, because the blood flow stands for life force. And that's also one thing that the pine does. It's that it circulates our energy inside our body, and it calms down the stress that we have inside the nervous system, which also suppresses our immune system. So it works both immune system activating, but also it calms down the stress that also suppresses our immune system. And that's what I find really strong about the pine, is that it works on both sides of the coin, as one can say. One recipe that I love to make is to pick the pine needles, and they say that the pine needles are strongest during the winter, because the tree has to produce a lot more energy to keep the needles green and alive. So they say that the needles are much stronger during the winter. And then you also collect the cones, the green cones, during the spring, and you are blending this with honey. So you cut up the needles very small, not too small, and you're going to layer that in a jar, like cones and needles, and then honey, and then again until the jar is full. And you're going to leave that in a warm place for about a week or two, and then you're going to turn this jar every day, because the needles will go up and you want them not to flow on the side. And then you have a very medicinal honey that you can use. And also by picking the herb itself, you're really connecting to this energy, because you're out in the forest, and the pine trees have little molecules that go out into the air, and by breathing them in, you're already connecting to this plant spirit, to this tree spirit. And by just picking it needle for needle for needle, and not just ripping off a branch, you're really already connecting to the spirit of the pine.
Yeah, beautiful recipe, yeah, and very much resonate with me, and I also totally agree with that power of the needle trees, and that what you say, that molecules, and that's like some ferric oil, you can say, which is spreading around, and even when you sleep and next to your house, the needle trees, and some of that molecules come to you, it's also disinfected actually all the space where you live, and it's like bacterial, I think antiviruses,
Yeah.
not only to inside but also in the space. Yeah, in the space. You can also, I think, just put a branch or some needles in the house, and that smell coming. And I
Yeah.
think that tradition to take a Christmas tree inside the house, it's also have a positive effect for the people, because then the coming that smell, and
Yeah.
that's really beautiful. Thank you. Nice to hear your vision of pine and needle trees. I would like to share my recipe for the immune system. It's a very shamanic plant, we say. It's called Radiola rosea. It's also same in Latin name. This English, I think, in Latin is the same. And this plant grow in the mountains most of the time. But when people try to grow it in the garden, it also works good. It means like if you care this plant, it's grow even in your garden. And we use mostly root of that plant. And this plant is like a stimulator, and also give you possibility to adapt your body to any stressful or problem situation in your life. And many shamans, they make like an essence out of this root. If you want to make strong essence, usually you use it to put to the alcohol, because alcohol can take out of the root all the good stuff, and you just need a little bit to take, like half of the teaspoon. And then before the shamanic trance, many shamans take this root to get up the energy. It's not to make you glucinate or something, but it make your energy up. And then you get very strong feelings, like you have power to go through the trance, sometimes for many hours if your dream travel long. It can help a shaman to go through the long dream journey, shamanic journey. And as well, everyone can use this plant for the reason to adopt to something. Like if you have a jet lags, for example, you can use that plant as give you energy. If it's about some situation with a virus or bacteria or whatever, you can also use that plant to prevent things. It's like we say that this root give you energy. And in Siberia, we call this plant golden root. Golden root. For us, it's a golden root. And this is the most common name because I think people call it golden because it's have a very special meaning. And in my opinion, this plant have much more effects on the body, not only like help you to adopt or help to rise your immune system, but it's like we call it exist spiritual plants or holy plants, yeah. And in my opinion, the golden root is one of that holy plants. Like in North America is a tobacco or ayahuasca in South America. In Siberia and Altai, it's a golden root. And how to use it, there is possible to make tea out of it. You just put pieces of root which you cut in small pieces, or make it powder, like a powder, and then put it to the warm water, not too hot, about 70-80 degrees, and then wait for a while. And the best to put it in thermos, because then it can stay longer in that warm temperature, and then take more good stuff out of the root. But most effective is alcohol essence, and then you put root into the bottle, and then put alcohol and to the dry, dark place, and yeah, then you can take yeah, smaller doses, and it's enough for longer time. Let's say like that.
Yeah.
But both ways is good, and yeah, about 3 times a day you take half of the teaspoon if it's alcohol essence, and if it's a tea, it's also about 3 times a day for a glass of tea. This is the way to get this for yourself.
And may I ask, how do
Yeah.
you feel the spirit of the rhodiola? Do you have a certain feeling or a thing that you want to share?
For me, the spirit looked like a female spirit, and it's more like I see that spirit when it's come to me, like a woman, uh, like a witch, like a shaman woman, which is not tell you everything, not show everything, but very helpful and kind of ready to help and teach you. And in my belief, when you take this medicine, this plant, then it's about to learn also, not only about to rise your immune system, but about to learn something new and to get to the higher level of your understanding and your vision of life and what's going on. This is my vision, and I see that woman and that like almost like a shamanic costume, natural colors, more the brown color, and yeah, she's quiet but she's helpful, something like that. It's my vision of that plant.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I have my all-time favorite, which grows here a lot in the northern parts, and that's juniper. And the official name is Juniperus communis. And you use the berries, and the berries really strengthen and clear the liver and the heart and the blood of toxins. And these organs, in my belief, really hold the soul and the energy force of the body. The liver is for me a very important organ for health and for energy, and I see it as the soul keeper of our body. And also our blood is called our life force, and also our heart, which connects us and which keeps us alive. And those three really work well together, and juniper berries really strengthen these three. And interconnected with these organs are also our lungs and our kidneys. And our lungs are the organs of connection between me and you, connection between our inner and our outer world. And I find that now with the coronavirus, who really goes to our lungs, it really reminds us that we are all connected with each other. We are connected with nature, we are connected to one another, and it doesn't matter if you live all the way in Siberia and I live all the way here up in the north. The coronavirus really connects us again with each other, and I believe it also opens up our ability to help each other, to be there for each other. And that's I also want to share that a beautiful part of the coronavirus, because it is not only bad, it's also good in there. And the kidneys move really our emotions, and when emotions get stuck in the body, the emotions harden in the body, then we get ill. And what the juniper does, it opens the kidneys and the emotional water flow and brings it back to Mother Earth, because when in earlier days we would go out to pee, and our pee and our water would go directly into Mother Nature to be recycled and reformed. What more to say? Well, the juniper is antiviral, which is very strong and also awakens our immune system. And it connects us to the spirit of discomfort. And I have a love-hate connection with the spirit, but the spirit of discomfort is really the spirit of going through a dark place, going through an illness, and come out stronger, come out cleaner, and come out happier. And that's what the juniper really does for us, is to connect to the spirit of discomfort. And I see it as a energy that helps us through it, with holding our hand and going through this. The smoke of the juniperus is really been used for centuries to clear out negative energy. And I use this a lot in shamanic practices to clear out negative energy, but also to break bad spells that people might have. Because when somebody's talking ill about somebody or wishing something bad upon someone, then this connection is created between these two people, and the juniper can break up this connection and clear out the area or the energy. And for this, you're only going to burn the wood and the needles, but absolutely not the berries. So you only burn the wood and the needles. And you can use the smoke as people use sage, just with feathers and smoke, and clear out yourself or your area. What I found even more strongly is to make a tincture of the juniper. And then you can use the berries also, and the wood and the needles, and you just soak it in alcohol, 70% alcohol. And then you can use this as a spray. And I do this, I work in healthcare, and I work with people who die on a daily basis. And then before I go out and before I come home, I spray this around my energy field, and I invite the spirit and say, now I release everything that's not mine, and then I can go clean to my house again without taking all those energy with me. Also, I help in a shamanic way there, but there's so much energies that can get stuck in your energy field. And if you want to strengthen your immune system, and if you want to help your body detoxify, then you can do a ritualistic cleanse, and that is the first day. And I preferably start with new moon. You take one berry and you eat them, and you really eat them. You feel it in your mouth, and you really feel the taste. And then the second day you take 2. The third day you take 3 until you are at 13. And when you are at day 13, you're going to take 1 less. On the 14th day, you're going to take 12. On the 15th day, you're going to take 11 until you're back to 0. And this ritual really helps you to detoxify your body and to strengthen your immune system.
Yeah, beautiful, interesting, especially with the spray. I like the idea with that strong alcohol. And then because you cannot always take and smudge yourself in daily life, it will be a little bit strange. But spray around, you can do it everywhere, yeah? And that's a nice idea. I see that some people use it for but other kind of sprays, essences. But yeah, why not to do it with this plant as well? Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Thank you. Nice to hear your story, your vision. And I like to talk also one more plant. It's a NATO. There's a very well-known plant which can be useful for many, many things. And our ancestors even made clothes from this plant, same as a hemp. And actually there's some relationship with the NATO and the hemp. I mean, there's anyway like a kind of a family, faraway family, but there's also family. And in my vision, more like a shamanic vision, a little bit same what you say about your neighbor boss, juniper. This is the plant which is challenging you and bring you like transformation, bring you cleansing at the same time. It's like feeling, healing, and transforming. In a way, people are afraid of the NATO, afraid to be burned. But my grandfather, when he was sick, he used the brown NATO especially to kind of heat himself. That how to say, acid which is make that burning feelings is stimulate his life energy, stimulate his immune system as well. And yeah, sometimes it's can work opposite, like we're afraid of it, but that's very very good, because we say discomfort is a healing. And if you get too much comfort, you get spoiled and you get more sick. And if you have more discomfort, and the NATO can give us that, yeah, you get more healthy. And it's many ways to use brown NATO. I think the easiest way to just make a tea out of that, and maybe in the combination of several other herbs you can do that to make like a normal tea and drink it. And only I would say that people who have a high blood pressure or the problem with the blood, that the blood is very thick, then don't use it so much, the natto, or use it more careful, let's say like that. Because the natto have ability to stop how to blood streaming, yeah, not stop, but make it more slow down. And that's why often even doctors in Russia recommend the natto for women when they have some bleeding problems, and yeah, that's for female problems often the natto very useful. But also natto have a lot of good minerals, vitamins, vitamin C as well, and that's make it also good for the immune system, and all what you need, yeah, a lot in a natto. Also some things which you cannot find in any other plants, like a family of the hemp, cannabinoids, you can say now a lot of in the air, that subject that we need more cannabinoids, and actually natto also have them as well. Yeah, that's what I would say, and I would recommend to take the natto regular, not only for this time. Make a tea out of it, and when you have a chance to use a fresh natto to make a soup out of it, to make green smoothie, to use yeah, in many other ways, just like a food. We say it's a food. My grandmother say we eat a natto as a food in the past, because it's yeah, tasty, good, and healthy. That's what I would like to say about the natto. Yeah, maybe now we give some recipes for the people, what they can use for this time.
Yeah.
Maybe you start to share your recipe, what you recommend.
I have a few. The first I really want to talk about is usnea, and people might know them as the hairs that hang from birch trees or pine trees. And it's green on the outside, but if you pull it, you see like a little white elastic in there. And now it has been shown that this is really strong antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. You can say it's an antibiotic, but it falls in that category. And the strongest way is to make a tincture. And you are going to take the usnea, you're putting it into alcohol, just making it a bit smaller. And then putting it in a warm place. I have the luxury of a fireplace, but I put it over the fireplace. But you can also put it in a pot with water, and then the jar in there with the usnea, with the alcohol over it, and warm it up a little bit. Not hot, but warm. And then you leave it for two weeks, not 2 weeks in the pan, but just warm it up every once in a while. And then you can sieve it out, and then you have a very, very powerful antibiotic, as we can say, a nature antibiotic that really works against viruses that people have and they are antibiotic resistant. Then they can use usnea instead, because you can't get resistant for usnea. And also I have a tea, and I've written it down because there's a lot of herbs there. But yeah, I find a long mixture very nice. I've used this now also myself, and it is a combination between sage, rosemary, elderberry flowers, so not the berries but the flowers, mint, and the birch bud leaves that come probably up in most of the areas right now. And you just mix this together in a pot, and you can use this 3 times a day to help open your lungs, but also to strengthen your immune system and to battle a inflammation that might be there.
Okay, beautiful, nice recipes. And I can give, I plan to give a bit more recipes, but I think we have already so many information for the people that they not get lost. I give one of my favorite also, but very simple recipe for the how to say, for throat, for the lungs. You can choose any needle tree what grow around. I don't know about exotic or needle trees. I'm talking about what grow in our altitude. And for example, pine, take a pine tree or the Siberian cedar. Then you just take 2-3 needles, picking from the tree, and then just simply put it to your mouth and start chewing it. And when you're chewing it, it's a lot of good stuff coming around your throat. Then you swallow, and then it's stay for a while here. Then you don't drink tea or eat for a while. And you can do it during the day many times, like it's a good recipe against throat pain or antibacterial, also rising immune system. And yeah, it's like good for your teeth also for many reasons. And it's maybe for the first time or the second time, maybe a little bit strange to do that. But when you do it several times, then it becomes kind of natural and comfortable for you. This is a very simple recipe. Just when you pass by the pine tree, pick up with respect some needles and start chewing them, and that's it.
Yeah,
this is
I
my
love the recipe. So simple.
yeah, this is the
Yeah,
simple.
fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, was great to be together in this time and share. I hope we can find some more opportunities to do maybe a video with another subject. And we can also ask people to give feedback about this video, and maybe they want to have some other subject to talk together. And also it would be nice if you put your how to say a like for this video, because it's good for the ranking the video, then many other people can see it. If you do that, also if you subscribe for the Whitney channel, my channel, you're very welcome, because it's coming a lot of wisdom and about shamanism, healing, and the herbs. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you. And I hope we can do this again. And thank everybody for watching this video, and follow Ahamkara on YouTube as well as myself. And there's more videos to come, so this will be super excited.